Hey, let's talk about something. About art, of course. I've been going through a little bit of a transition in my art, and I think it'd be fun to talk about it. Because I'm pretty sure that there's lots of you out there that are either have experienced it or are going through it. Or maybe it's going to come down the road for you, and this will help you to, to navigate it a little better. So I want to talk about the fact that I'm a 62-year-old artist, and what I paint is landscape paintings. And I've been doing that I've been painting landscape paintings for maybe 55 of my 62 years. It started when I was a kid, and I had an uncle at the time who was a really accomplished watercolor artist. His name was Jack Reed. You can Google that. One of Canada's better known watercolorists. And I idolized Jack, and I wanted to be Jack, and I sat with him lots of times. I was very privileged to have access to him as an instructor one-on-one. And I spent 35 years painting in watercolor, and I learned from the best. I would say that I enjoyed it immensely, and I painted a lot of paintings. But in those days, there were different things happening than there are today. There was no internet, and there was no social media, and you were really kind of at the mercy of galleries. And if a gallery just didn't see your work as fitting their space, which is fair, it's the way it goes, then you just didn't get in, no matter how good your presentation was. Now, I enjoyed some sales, and it was not a bad choice to be in watercolor. But after 35 years of it, I came to a place where I just didn't feel that fire, that passion. And I needed a change. And just like almost overnight, I just laid my brushes down and stopped painting. And for an artist, that's crazy. I mean, I had other jobs. I was working full-time in other careers. I was with one of Canada's largest banks for a long, long time. And I just kind of focused on the banking career, and I focused on my family, and I focused on my music. I'm a drummer, and I'm a photographer. I like to take pictures of things. Most artists are photographers as well. And then one day I was given by one of my aunts, Aunt Rosalind, who also was an artist, a shoebox that was full of tubes of oil paint and brushes and thinners, and it smelled like cigar ashes, because the old gentleman that passed on and gave it to her to give to somebody else had been a cigar smoker and a pipe smoker for years, and he just literally coated those things in smoke and ash. And so not only did I not know anything about oil painting, but I was quite put off with this nasty presentation, but I still accepted it, and I put them away on a shelf, and the no art period of my life continued. Well, there came a day when I was out for a drive, and when I was out for a drive, I hadn't been painting for quite a while, and I passed by my local art store, which at the time was Curry's Art Store. Gosh, I miss those guys. What a great store. But the salesperson at the store, her name was Marissa. Marissa is a really accomplished artist in her own right. But she also was the sales staff there and instructor at their weekend art classes. And she said to me, well, you've got the oil paints now, and why don't we just get you a couple of little canvases just so you can kind of dip your toes and see if you like it. So I got 2 5-inch by 5-inch canvases. I didn't know what I was doing. It was like diving into a whole different pond, But I took my brushes home, and I took all those paints and I dumped the whole shoebox, soot and all, into the kitchen sink and poured dish soap all over it, and I washed them all down until the nice aluminum tubes were shiny again. The red tubes were red and the blue tubes were blue, and and the brushes came up beautifully clean. And then I said, well, I guess I should paint something. So I went down to my little art studio, and I took one of those canvases, and I painted this little scene of the St. Lawrence Seaway. And this would be kind of like up on a hill somewhere. It's just on the north side of Quebec City somewhere. And looking over at the far shore, the way the land rises, and those long farms just kind of come down to the river. What a wonderful feeling, that viscosity of the paint, the way it just kind of flowed from my brush. Now, it's a very washed out and thin looking image, but I absolutely loved it. It really changed my life. And for the next 17 years to now, I've been a landscape painter in oils. And I still paint watercolor from time to time, but my passion is in the oil paint. I'm there. What can I say? Now, a few months ago, another transition began in my art, and I know better now than to resist it or to fight it. In fact, when I would finish painting a landscape painting, I would have paint left over on my palette, and instead of just letting it dry or scraping it off, I would paint little abstracts, 5 by 5, 8 by 10, something like that. And then they started to get a little bigger and a little bigger and a little bigger, to the point where I started to really kind of think about this and how much fun it was, and I ended up getting some 48 by 60 inch canvases and some 48 by 48 inch canvases. And I wouldn't say it took over, because I still love my landscape paintings, and I'll do that for the rest of my life. I've carved out a career in landscape, and a very deep following, and a very passionate following, and I'm still all in. But there's another side to the artist that is quite happy to kind of break free, and that's the abstract side. So I thought it'd be fun just to do this little video, because there's people out there that are also kind of stuck in your artistic quagmire, whatever you want to call it. And you may be kind of tempting yourself to go in a different direction. And I say go for it. Just go for it. Just follow your brush. That's what I like to say. Just follow your brush. I did, and there's been no regret, from watercolor to oil, and the rewards that brought 17 years and ongoing of a career that I could never have imagined possible. And now having abstract is just like another chapter. It's just another way of expressing. And I love the shapeless, the unrecognizable forms and shapes, and not trying to stick to any kind of regimented rules, but just going with it. I thought it'd be fun to end this video with maybe a few samples of where that abstract road has gone. So I'll let you watch and see some of them now. And if you get a second, just do me a favor, will you, and hit that like and subscribe. You know, with YouTube, that's how they know you're watching, and they'll let you know when there's another McAfee video coming down the river. But also it encourages them to show other people as well, and you're going to help me out that way just by spreading the word. But enough about that. Let's check out some landscape or some see. Let's check out some abstracts, and I'd love to really get your comments afterwards of your impressions and your thoughts, and maybe some of your experiences. I'd really love to know what you're thinking and finding in your career with transition periods and how you deal with it. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time right here on The Robert Painter.